The Geneva Conventions, another foundational document that you guys have heard me talk about. Just like the United States Constitution, both of these are treaties that our public servants are bound to uphold. The Constitution was made in 1789. The ratification of the Geneva Convention was done in 1955. Both of these documents, they give out a strict behest to how public servants and certain people in certain capacities that have duties and obligations must honor, operate, and take part. So recently, I started studying a bit more into the Geneva Conventions, and I learned about the ICRC, which is the International Committee for the Red Cross, and they're responsible for maintaining the list of all of the high parties, the high contracting parties to the Geneva Conventions, and also to make sure that people can get services with their neutral party. But going through their website, I was able to find the page where you can read more about the Geneva Conventions right through the Red Cross website. And with that, there's also a page where you can ask the questions to all of the leaders within inside of it. So I've drafted a little bit letter. I'm going to show it to you guys. And I want you guys to start utilizing more avenues than just what you're using. We know the court system are corrupt. So we cannot consistently continue using a corrupted system and not try alternative measures. We have to find measures and things that aren't quite there. And just like our sheriffs have forgotten their position, I do believe that many members of the ICRC have forgotten theirs too. So I'm hoping when I send this letter out to them, that I'll be able to get some kind of recourse made for what has been going on with me, but not just for other parties. So let me take a minute to show you exactly what I put together. All right. So first of all, if you want to see the page I'm on is info.irc.org/rules-of-war-as-all-leaders-now. Come in here, you can ask the leaders. So some of the questions they have here is, what is your call to the state and armed groups leaders to alleviate people's suffering in war times? They ask, what is your call to the states and armed groups leaders to uphold detainees' rights? Then I have, what is your call of states and armed group leaders to help families find missing loved ones? And I have, what is your call of state to the armed group leaders to preserve humanity in war? Well, I didn't select one yet. Lead by example. Let's do it the right way, right? And then this is what I wrote up right here. We can't see it all right here, so I'm gonna read to you exactly what that document says, all right? So this is what I wrote to the International Committee of the Red Cross. All right, I'm gonna read it to you guys, so you guys don't have to try to strain your eyes and anything like that. All right. Let me see if I can get it in frame. You can read along with me. All right. To the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, I am writing from New York, United States of America, to bring attention to what I believe are ongoing violations of fundamental rights, due process guarantees, and protections against cruel, inhumane, and degrading treatment that are occurring within domestic institutions under the color of law. I understand that many people view the Geneva Conventions as applying only during traditional wartime conflicts. However, after studying the conventions, reference Article 2 of Geneva Conventions, related humanitarian principles, and the realities experienced by many people within the America, I have become deeply concerned that countless men are being subjected to conditions and practices that result in severe torture, family separation, homelessness, deprivation of property, loss of liberty, mental anguish and turmoil, and destruction of communities without what they believe to be meaningful due process protections and increasing recidivism. My concern is not limited to my own circumstances. I'm speaking on behalf of many individuals who I have met through my work as a National Operations Director, where I facilitated community outreach, constitutional education, and advocacy. Many report experiencing patterns of governmental action that have resulted in the loss of homes, separation from children, incarceration, deprivation of property, financial ruin, and prolonged damages while attempting to seek relief through institutions that were established to protect them. In my own experience, I was displaced from my domicile despite repeatedly informing courts and public officials of serious medical conditions and emergency circumstances. I experienced homelessness, loss of property, destruction of business opportunities, and significant emotional and physical hardship. Throughout these proceedings, case 1, colon 26-CV-00106 in the Eastern District of New York, District Court located at 225 Cadman Plaza, with presiding judge Hector Gonzalez. I sought accountability, transparency, and proof of authority from public officials acting under the color of law, reference Article 10 of the 1949 GC. I requested records, oath of office, supporting documentation, and due process protection that I believe were owed to me. In many instances, those requests were ignored, denied, or left unresolved. The resulting harm was not merely financial. The mental anguish, uncertainty, instability, and damages that accompany the loss of one's domicile, family relationship, livelihood, and dignity create conditions that many would describe as cruel, inhumane, and degrading. Reference Article 3 of the GC. These consequences affect not only private men, but entire bloodlines, communities, and future generations. I believe it is important to recognize that conflict is not always international in nature or just between two states. Communities may experience conditions that resemble domestic conflict when governmental institutions fail to uphold the limitations placed upon them and instead exercise power in ways that people perceive as arbitrary, coercive, destructive, or ultra-vires. While the terminology used to describe such circumstances may differ, the human suffering remains real. Across the United States, many people report separation from their heirs and kinfolk, loss of domicile and shelter, involuntary servitude, deprivation of property, incarceration and detention, financial destruction, psychological trauma, emotional distress and mental anguish, loss of community support systems, feelings of hopelessness, despair, and abandonment, PTSD against government service. These are not merely legal issues. These are humanitarian and civil rights issues affecting real men. America ratified the Geneva Convention and has long presented itself as a nation dedicated to liberty, due process, and the protection of fundamental rights. The United States Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and numerous international treaties, agreements, all recognize the importance of protecting human dignity and limiting government power. Yet many believe that those protections are not being consistently upheld. I respectfully ask the International Committee of the Red Cross to continue monitoring conditions affecting human dignity, liberty, and humane treatment wherever such concerns arise. I further ask that leaders, governments, institutions, and public servants be reminded of their obligations to protect human beings from unnecessary burdens and to ensure that systems of justice remain accountable to the people they serve. I also respectfully request information regarding the current list of all high contracting parties and their contact details to the Geneva Conventions and any publicly available materials maintained by the ICRC concerning their obligations, responsibilities, and commitments under those treaties. I come with a clean heart and hands, as my purpose in writing is not to create division, but to call attention to injustices that many believe are being overlooked. I hope that humanitarian organizations, governmental leaders, and public servants will take seriously the concerns of those who we feel they have been deprived of meaningful protections and who continue to seek peaceful remedies rooting in justice, accountability, transparency, and respect for human dignity. The people who are suffering deserve to be heard. Respectfully, Trevor Avery of the Town Bloodline. Then at the bottom I have P.S. All government officials are trustees and must honor their fiduciary obligation. Anything outside of that is negligence that leads to the turmoil of the people who they swore to protect. Then for each of the articles that I put, Article 2, Article 10, Article 3, I have them here, and I have the main parts I want highlighted in red, so they know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Now I've taken that. Let me go back. This report right here is what's typed up right here in this section. And now that everything is filled out, I am going to submit it. And just like that, I have just submitted my report, my letter to the ICRC. This is something that took me a few minutes, and each of you can do the same thing. Each of you can start putting our government officials and these organizations on notice of the deprivation of our rights that's taken place. We don't know if these things will affect change today or effectuate change tomorrow, but we do know that if we do nothing, we get nothing. So I'm asking each of you, Start contacting these places that we need to contact. Contact your sheriff's offices, contact the ICRC, the IHL, the IHRL, the IAJ, the FBI, the DOJ. Contact all of these places. Put them on notice. Get as many emails as possible. Add them to one thread so they'll all be in place notice at one time. And let's start holding them accountable, because these people need to stop this bullshit.